We know Saquon has had some injuries. Saquon still is explosive though. If he goes to a Houston, what type of impact do you think Saquon could have on a Houston or any other team that's able to pick him up?
I mean, I think that's just going to open up that offense even more. Like CJ really showed out last year without much of a running game until the end of the year when Singletary sort of stepped up. But if you bring in a Saquon who, when he's healthy, he's one of like the top 5 backs in the NFL, that adds a new dynamic to the team. Like he can catch passes out of the backfield. Now you have to worry about a running back, so now that opens up stuff for Tank Dell, Nico Collins. So I think that would make them a lot more dangerous next year. And I mean, they had a great year this year already, as for having a rookie, and on that rookie contract, you got to do what you can do to build around him. So I think if you bring in a star like Saquon, I mean, that won't be the only piece they bring in, but like the defense was pretty solid last year. They've got pieces on the line. Tunsil's still there. So I think it would be a good move. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Saquon's probably ready to get out of New York. I think he feels disrespected by the way some things have gone down negotiation wise. And I mean, he's a free agent. They're not going to tag him. So he can decide where he wants to go. And I mean, if we're looking at quarterbacks, CJ is probably the best option for him that's available, unless he were to go to San Diego and team up with Justin Herbert. But it's all about preference, right?
Yeah, I think look, I don't think San Diego is the best option because you got a guy like Eckler too, who's also a free agent, and if they're not going to pay Eckler, they're not going to pay Saquon, right? So I think the Texans are a great fit. I love that Tone sent this in the chat earlier about him being in talks with CJ Stroud. I mean, this is a team that's ascending. You got young stars like CJ Stroud, Tank Dell. They got Stingley Jr. on the defensive side, right at cornerback. This is a playoff ready team. We've seen it. They got good coaching. They got a revamped culture, right, in terms of just having that fan base being bought in and just the guys internally being bought in. New head coach that showed that he can coach and get the most out of a young quarterback like CJ Stroud. And like you're playing with an absolute stud in CJ Stroud, who's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league in the next few years, right? And you get, like Miles mentioned, you get to run behind a left tackle like Laramie Tunsil, who's a quality left tackle in this league. And the one thing about Saquon, man, that Miles just hit on is he probably feels disrespected and he wants to win, right? He's a player that is a generational type of player just in terms of everything that he can bring to the game of football from an agility standpoint, from catching balls out of the backfield, from making guys miss every time he has the ball in his hands. Like you don't see that often, and when you have that special talent like he does, when you've killed at every single level of football that like he has, you want to be able to exploit that skill set that you have, right? And with Saquon, you want to be on a team that is going to win, and you're not just wasting your talent, right? And not getting paid what you think you deserve to get paid. So if he goes to the Texans, I think is ultimately a great fit. Adding Saquon would make them a serious threat, and I'll even say a contender to make it to the Super Bowl. It just makes too much sense if he can get the contract that he deserves without getting CMC type of money. I think that'd be a great move for him.
Now, the two other teams as mentioned with them, Vegas has obviously the Texans are the favorite team, but also the two other teams is in the division, which I think is a little bit sexier and a little bit messier, and I would like to see it just to give the Giants hell twice a year. Eagles and the Cowboys are on there as the prospective possible teams Vegas believing that Saquon is going to go to if he does not return to the Giants. DeAndre Swift is a pending free agent with the Eagles, so if that don't work out, Saquon will be a nice fit there too with Jalen Hurts and